All right, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's cooking class. This is Jorge Montes. I'm here at Rojo Kitchen, and welcome to tonight's homemade chef's cooking class. Hopefully, I can get to rattle your bell and wake up everybody. If your friends are nearby, pop up a watch party. If you're watching us, put us on your watch party, share it. Um, Joe is in the ones and twos and behind the scenes. You can say hello. Let us know where you're at. If you're cooking right now, if you're not cooking and maybe you want to grab this recipe for tomorrow's dinner, we're giving it away for you. These classes here every Tuesdays. We're here live, so it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. We will be putting also some Venmo and Cash App our info. So if you want to donate, you're free to donate uh, to our classes. All right, so today we're gonna get started. We're gonna do this Asian turkey meatballs. So we're going a little bit light. We're going Asian, and I'm already drinking a little bit of wine. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this. My friend Harmeet from Fine Spirits has the wine sale of the day, so I'll tell you more about this German Spatlitz. And I'm not German, so if anybody's hearing me butcher the German language, which that sounds like an oxymoron already in its own, uh, please chime in. All right, so let's get started. Let's get cooking. All right, so today we're gonna make this turkey meatballs. A couple ingredients you're gonna need is ground turkey. This is already breast and turkey meat ground up. I like the blend of breast and the meat, the leg meat because you get a little more fattiness. So I'm always you know, love my thigh, especially in anything ground because it adds a little more unctuousness, that little fatty ratio. And normally turkey is very lean, so this is a good healthy option if you want to go a little lighter. You can also do this with ground chicken. You can do this with pork. Meatballs are is one of my favorite easy things to do during the weekdays because you can literally put a lot of flavors into it and go whatever route. You can go Italian, you can go Asian, you can go many other ways. But today we're going to the middle, to the east. All right, so we're gonna do this turkey meatballs. We got the turkey, and we're gonna begin by chopping some fresh ginger. All right, so a little nub of ginger. I'm gonna cut around and remove the skins. I always save those for my tea. Really good for your immune system, especially right nowadays. So lots of good ginger. It's good for you. So I'll save that, put that in my little water later on. All right, so we're gonna chop this up nice and small. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. You can put your comments on the post, and then Joe's gonna read them out to me, and I'll try to answer them the best way possible. Like I always say, you are the chef of your kitchen. So if there's a substitution you want to make, there's an ingredient you don't like, and sometimes it's not available. So there's always substitutions to certain things. So feel free to ask me, and I'll answer them to the best of my knowledge over here. Please have your oven preheated at this time to 400 degrees. This recipe is so easy. We're gonna mix it up. We're gonna ball them up and put them in the oven, and boom. All right, so let me chop that up nice and small. Get that going. Fresh ginger is amazing, delicious, aromatic. It's gonna add a lot of flavor. So we're gonna saute some ginger, some garlic, and some scallions. We're gonna use the whites of the scallions. So my ginger is chopped. I'm gonna leave that here to the side. Let me do the scallion.
Chef, first question.
Green onion over here. Yes, we have a question.
Donna Bolt. Can you use ground ginger?
Ground ginger. All right. So the question was, can I use ground ginger? Yes, you can. Since powder, I would think that's your question. You can use the powder stuff. Just use a little bit less. So whatever it calls for, use a third on powder. It's gonna taste good, but you cannot compare fresh with dry. But if you do not have the fresh, the dry ginger works well too. I do it all the time. So ground ginger is really nice. Just a little bit goes a long way. So we're gonna go with the scallion. We're gonna cut this guy in three ways. What I like to do with the bottom part, very white part, I'm gonna trim that up and make a little flour with this. So I'm gonna go about 3/4 of the way into the scallion. I normally put this in a little cold water, and this is gonna bloom up like a little nice flower. You see, like a little spring bouquet. Boom. That was a little quick retro 80s garnish for you right there. Next, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trim a little bit from the top because the tops tend to dry up a little bit more. So we're gonna slice that small, and I'm gonna cut first my garnish for the dish. So I'm gonna use the whole thing. So I'm gonna cut a couple pieces at a diagonal bias cut, and that's gonna give me this nice kind of oblong shaped angled cut. So that's gonna look really sexy when we sprinkle that around later on. So I'm gonna keep a little bit of that. I always like to, as I go, I think of the whole dish because when you garnish a dish, you want to make sure that it makes sense. It's part of the composed plate. The garnish and the whole dish tells a whole story. It all should be cohesive in a way. And sometimes you do it for color, but I like to always make sure it makes sense. All right, so the rest of the scallion here, I'm gonna dice up small, and that's what we're gonna saute in our what I'm calling our chino sofrito. It's like a Chinese style sofrito or vegetable base. All right, so this is a wide scallion. I'm gonna cut this in half because it's gonna be nice, really big ring. So by cutting it in half, it's a little bit smaller because I do want it in the meatball, but I don't want it to be a scallion meatball. It's a turkey meatball, right? So by cutting it small, you don't really taste too much of the scallion. You taste it, but you're not chewing on it. All right, gonna go really nice and small. We're gonna get that ready because we're gonna saute all this. We're gonna let it cool down a little bit, and then we're gonna mix it in the meatball itself. And these are cool. You can eat this with rice. Today, I'm gonna show you how to do a simple stir-fried broccoli with a sauteed broccoli with a little bit of garlic and olive oil. Very nice, strong flavors, but delicious. All right. So next ingredient, we're gonna do some garlic. Gonna remove that little dry part. This is already peeled garlic cloves, and I'm just gonna give them a nice little smash, and we're gonna chop them up. And if anybody's watching, you guys missed out on a bunch of awesome events last week. We had our Scotch tasting. We had 35 people be a part of that. That was amazing. And then we did our sushi rolling class on Friday, and we did 40 people. So if you haven't done any of the virtual classes or the tastings, I encourage you to sign up. They're fun. Tickets are selling fast, and we want you to be a part of it. The more you sign up, the more we do. So if you have any ideas for cooking classes that you like, please leave your messages underneath, and we appreciate all that. If you love us and support us, we always appreciate a nice review. So if you can go to our Yelp, our website, and any of those good stuff, give us some 5 stars and some high fives and all that good stuff. All right. Thank you very much. We love you. And now back to the recipe. Right. So chopped up my garlic. You don't want to go too small. I'm gonna keep it a little chunky but funky. All right. So in a small pan, we're gonna put a little bit of olive oil. We're gonna let that get a little hot.
Question, Chef.
We have a question.
From Renee, with the sushi rolling classes, do you show them how to cut the fish, or do you just show them how to roll?
Okay, so that was a good question. The sushi classes, what you get in a kit, it's a kit for two, and what I show you is how to do more the rolling. Just because we try to keep the class concise within, the classes take a little longer in the Zoom than in real life because I'm not there next to you. I'm there watching you from afar. So there's a little bit of time gap. So this is an intro sushi class, which I give you all the fish cut, all the vegetables cut, the rice is cooked, give you all the sauces, and really we focus on giving you some history, some background on the sushi, and how to get the rolling part. So on the next advanced one, we're gonna do how to cut the sushi, how to make the rice, and whatnot. So we're gonna add also a little sakatini on the next one. I promise, a little lychee sakatini. All right, so I'm just giving this an extra chop because why not? And now we're gonna add this to the pan. Wait about 20, 30 seconds. See a little action in there. We're gonna add our ginger. We're gonna add our scallions and garlic all there together. Boom. The ginger, garlic, we add a little bit more olive oil, and I'm gonna add a little pinch of salt, Don't go crazy with the salt because we're gonna put some soy sauce in here, and you don't want to go too salty. So this is delicious right here. Give this a little move. You're gonna saute. You know, high high heat now. It's like a medium high heat. This is what your aromatics are. All types of cuisine, you have some kind of aromatic going on. All the best cuisines have some kind of delicious aromatic. This is the our chino sofrito or our Chinese style sofrito base. Ginger, garlic, and scallions. Next thing we're gonna add to that is a little bit of sesame oil. Sesame oil is gonna very little. It's gonna give it such a strong flavor and delicious Asian vibes over here. So I love sesame seed oil. Such a very elegant smell. A little bit goes a long way. Now that tends to burn, so you don't want to have that too high heat. The sesame oil, you're just gonna keep it low. And next we're gonna add soy sauce. Boom. All right. So pretty much I'm gonna turn it off. This is such a high heat. Right now the soy sauce is evaporating and concentrating, so we gain this delicious looking Frito base. I don't know if you guys can see that there. Let me give you some smell of vision. Mm. All right. And I'm gonna put this in our bowl where we're gonna mix it. And you can stick this in the fridge for a couple minutes to cool down. The important thing is that you don't wanna mix this while it's still hot with the raw turkey, because then it kind of cooks the turkey and it won't bind. It won't mix properly in your meatball. So what I do, I just put it in a cold plate and spread it nice and even, and we'll get all the other stuff, all the other mise en place ready while this cools down. This will buy us. I'm gonna buy us 2 minutes. And this is how you do it. All right. So I'm gonna set that aside. Oh, it's good. All right. Boom. Turkey's in a standby, and I'm gonna beat an egg. If you want to have make this, I was gonna say if you want to make this vegan, then don't do it with the turkey or the egg. Matter of fact, at this point, don't do it. I'll give you another vegan recipe soon. Not everything can be substituted. All right, so I have an egg in here. I'm gonna whisk this up. You're just scrambling the egg. You know, always poke the yolk and give it a nice little swirl. Okay. I'm also gonna season the turkey. Fresh black pepper. It's gonna give it a nice little crunch. If you want to add some heat at this point, you can add some little chili flakes right now, or you can also saute a little serrano chili or bird's eye chili in the sofrito that we made. But I'm gonna keep it mild. You know, it's family friendly, not too spicy. All right. Okay. So we get our egg. That's going good. We're gonna have some panko breadcrumbs. You can use any regular breadcrumbs, but panko breadcrumbs are very neutral in flavor. But what you really get the kick is in the crunch. So you get this nice semi-dry little crumbs, really really good. The Japanese breadcrumbs. You can use any kind of breadcrumbs, but these are really nice. So I'm just gonna sprinkle that on top and keep that ready. All right. Once we make the balls, we're gonna make this little glaze, but I'm gonna show you about that in a second. All right. This cooled down already. So we're gonna dump our turkey in there, and we're gonna pour our egg in there. And I'm gonna put also a little bit of salt right on this side right here of the turkey. Give it some love and some black pepper on this side as well. All right, so now we can go with your hands. I'm gonna put some gloves on because I don't feel like washing and rinsing, but you can do whatever you like there. So I'm gonna give it a nice mix, and your hands is your best tool because you're gonna be thorough in there. So at this point, you know, light a candle, put a nice song, and take your time and just gently uh, mix. We're binding all this. We're incorporating the proteins, the egg in there, and the breadcrumbs in there, and all the flavorings in there. So it makes that really nice and well. Sometimes I go like this, almost create a whisk with my hand, and I do that. There's a little chef trick. I made that up, or maybe somebody might be doing that too. But it helps, almost like it's as if your hand becomes a whisk with your fingers. And then I come back and I'll squeeze it and give it a nice shake. What you really want to do is disperse all the flavors into the meat so you get a nice even taste. If you want to do a tasting of this, you can make a little patty and cook that. I would normally try a little bit raw, but if I do that right now, half of you will freak out. Uh, so I'm gonna avoid that. But taste it. You can make a little patty and whatnot. You can do that. All right. So this looks good. Texture's nice. Perfect. So then what we're gonna do, I'm gonna keep my gloves on actually, and I'm gonna add a second glove. No glove, no love. All right. Get that on. So next, what you're gonna need to do is have a baking tray like so. I put parchment paper on there, and you're gonna scoop your balls. I get a little ice cream scoop. Let me remove my little flour for later. You'll see that. Um, I dip it in a little cold water, and then I scoop. So get a little cookie scooper and portion out your little turkey balls. Something you can do with this, if you don't want to make balls, you can make them into little patties, so like little Asian breakfast patties. You can do that. That'd be pretty nice with a little scallion pancake. Now you have another little option, Asian turkey sliders on a scallion pancake. Works really, really nice. A little hoisin sauce and boom. And speaking of hoisin sauce, that's gonna make a cameo soon, right now. All right, so I scoop them, and this is to portion them because we're gonna come back right now and give it some little ball love over here. So get a little bit of cold water, dip your hands in there. If you use cold water, this has a little bit of fat, so it causes it not to stick to your hands. In this case, my gloves. So let me ball that up. If you start sticking, just dip your hands in the water, and you see water is a good tool for a lot of things. And this is nice also if you before you bake them, you can put them in the fridge so you can set. Maybe you can make them overnight if you like, or just let them set for 20, 30 minutes so they can maintain that round shape. All right, taking over here. Any questions? Feel free to ask. This is a good time right now. Is Harmeet on the line?
Meat is out there.
Yeah. Harmeet, you're welcome to introduce yourself in the messages and post any info that you like. And I'll give you I'll tell you a little bit more about the wine in a bit. All right, so we got little balls in there, balling. So let me take off these gloves. All right. So next, what we're gonna do, we're gonna make a glaze. We're gonna make I don't like to call it an Asian glaze just because it's Asian, but it's gonna be a glaze that's gonna be nice and delicious on top of the meatballs. So here we go. Get a little whisk, and we're gonna pour some honey. The honey from my honeys. All right. Love cooking with honey. Very complex, delicious sugar we can use. Hoisin, oyster sauce, not hoisin sauce. Oyster sauce. Oyster sauce is like a very soy. It's almost like a soy type uh, ketchup, I would say, because it's very sweet, but it's more soy. There's no tomato, but as if it's a ketchup. And we're gonna add a little bit of rice wine vinegar. So what you're gonna get the sweet and sour kind of flow. Little extra salt. So I'm gonna mix that up, and this makes right here a quick, nice, delicious glaze. All right. If you have a little painting brush, just go to Home Depot or one of these stores and just get a brush, and you can brush them on top. Now you look like a little artist. This is cool if you're doing this with the kids. They love doing this part. I did at some point back in the day. I still do. All right, so paint your balls with the Asian glaze. And then we're gonna decorate them with a little bit of sesame seeds. It's gonna add to the crunch. It's gonna add to the flavor. It's gonna add to the beautiful look. So we're going really, really nice. As you can tell, this recipe is pretty easy. You can make these the day before, and all you have to do is pop them in the oven the next day. If you want to make them a little smaller, you can bake them, put a little stick, and that's great for an appetizer for your next party. All right? All right. Sesame seeds, you can roll them in if you want. I think it's plenty just on top. You see this nice, a nice little crunch and texture. And we're gonna pop this in the oven, 400 degrees, 15 minutes. I might make it in 12 or 10. We'll see. All right, cool. So next, what we're gonna work on, guys, we're gonna start making our broccoli. So our side dish for this is gonna be some broccoli. If you have some white rice, steamed white rice, would have been really, really delicious as well. And I think we're gonna have a little more wine. So let me get my pot here. We are gonna blanch. Key word in cooking, you probably see in a lot of recipes, blanching something, which means it's
Question, chef.
boiling in salt water, and we're gonna cook it partially, cook it there. We have a question.
If you do more smaller appetizer size meatball, what would the cooking time be for that?
Okay, so the question is if you're making an appetizer size meatball, which is gonna be a little smaller, I would make them about a third of the size of that. The temperature in the oven, I would do it a little higher. So I would do 425, and you probably cook them for about 8 to 10 minutes. So those are pretty good. You can make almost like a little slider. That works really nice too. So really, really delicious stuff. All right, so I'm gonna get my water boiling. I already put a little salt in there. We're gonna cook that in a bit. I'm gonna have my tongs because we're gonna fish out some broccoli and a bowl to drain them onto. So part of your mise en place is getting all your ingredients ready to go. So when you're cooking, if any step that you go, get all the tools that you need, get all your ingredients that you need, and that's part of being prepared. Because if you fail to prepare, you're prepared to fail.
Another question
We get a question
from Linda.
from Linda.
Is it necessary to turn the meatballs over during the cooking process?
No, the way I made them so small, it's not necessary to turn them over. So the question was, if it's necessary to flip them, you don't have to. Just serve them the way you baked them. So that way the bottom, even though it's gonna be a little flat without the seeds, no one really will notice because the first bite is gonna enamor them. All right. So broccoli, one of my favorite vegetables to eat, uh, pairs up really well with Asian flavors. I love that it's like a little tree. So I would always cut the tree in half to give you a good example what the anatomy of the broccoli looks like. You got the trunk, and then you got the branches, and you got the leaves. So I like to use the whole thing, even the trunk. So I pull out pieces about this long and go into the trunk. So that way you maximize the vegetable, and we don't have any waste. Broccoli's in the cruciferous family, which is in the stinky family of cabbages, where everything that you cook it when you boil it, it smells kind of funky. So it wasn't me; it was the broccoli, right? So we're gonna cut these into strips. So see what I'm doing? Cut them into thin little strips, and these guys becomes almost like little daggers. See, little pointy. I have all the stalk, but by cutting the stalk thin, the whole thing will cook evenly, and you have this nice different shape as opposed to your little broccoli shapes. I'm going to cut a couple of these, just enough for a presentation, so you have an idea. And blanching is a good way of cooking vegetables, easy way to cook vegetables, and very practical, especially at home. All right, so cut a couple more pieces. That's pretty good right there. All right, so our water is boiling. As you can see, it's just roaring. That's what I mean, a roaring boil right there. It's like, ready to go. All right, I got you. All right, Captain. All right, so whoop, broccoli in the water. Remember, I put salt in there. You just didn't see it. In case you didn't see it, Boom, a little bit more. All right, we're gonna put that in there. Next thing, what I'm gonna get ready while I wait for my broccoli is the garlic. So get that over here. And I think in the recipe it says minced. Since I already minced garlic earlier, I don't feel like doing the same thing. So another variation you can do, you can just slice it thin, just like in the Goodfellas with the razor blade, nice and long, what they call garlic slivers, long pieces. When you cut a garlic that way, you get a little more exposure to the pan. So when you saute, you get this nice brown garlic. So nice and thin little slivers go really, really nice, almost like garlic chips. So let me slice this up. Now, don't forget about your broccoli, because the broccoli in boiling water, just like that, it takes literally less than a minute, 45 seconds, maybe 30 seconds. I'm going to check one out because I don't want to abandon them. Remember, we're going to saute this again, so we're only partially cooking. You want to cook about 70 to 80%. The remaining percentage, we're going to saute it in the pan. All right, so this is good. This is what you want to see. You want to see that vibrant green color. Um, and sometimes like a green bean, you can snap. See, that snapped. So, or you can try it. Hmm. Best way to cook is by trying it. Don't take my word for it. Don't write times and then say my recipe sucked. Because in life, and especially in cooking, it's all about the variables. There could be a cold draft and my water is not boiling as fast. So you really want to understand the way it should be and learn the techniques, and then it becomes a lot easier. And that's all we practice. The only way you learn is by cooking. If you're not cooking once or twice a week, then you're not going to be a good cook. If you're ordering out every day and Uber Eats and all that stuff, you're not going to be a good cook. So you want to be a cook, practice. All right. If you want to be a good cook, also drink some wine. It helps teach your palate. And one of the reasons why we do the tastings is because I love talking about flavors. Flavors are like colors that you eat. So I'm going to put a little wine. Joe, would you like a little bit more? I opened this up so I could bloom. It was cold. This is chilled. So a little bit about the wine harm. I don't speak German again. I'm gonna butcher this. But John Joe's Prum is the house. This is a 2016 Gracker Himmelreich. That means Kingdom of Heaven in German. Um, and that's a region where the Spatlese grapes are harvested 7 days later than the usual grapes. So when you harvest them later, they get a little more fortified with sugars. So you get a little more high alcohol volume, and the flavors are delicious. Think of a Riesling Gewürztraminer along those lines of the sweet wines. So this is a great pairing. It's going to go nice with the bold flavors of Asia. So ginger, garlic, the soy, that umami, that all those flavors really are heavy on the palate. So by adding something like this with nice pristine acidity and this delicious sweetness with a lot of delicious notes of like pear, lemon, melons, and other stuff that I have to sit down and drink the whole bottle to tell you more. Uh, but I'll tell you more about that at the tastings. So you got to join the tastings. We do a lot of that. So Harmeet, leave some comments about the wine. If you have other recommendations, talk to him. This is on sale. I think it was 45.99. Now it's 39.99. And if you mention Rojo Kitchen, Homemade Chefs, then you get another $2 off. So go hook them up. Cooper City, Fine Spirits. Thank you, Harmeet. All right. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Amazing. So let's get cooking with our broccoli. Another saute pan. Boom. Let's heat that up. Now we have our garlic slivers. I'm gonna show you how thin they are. If you can see it, you can see it. Tiny little thin. So you want them nice and thin. You don't want to have this chunky bite and then it's just too much. So I'm gonna put the oil in there. When they're nice and thin, I like to start them cold. That way they start cooking evenly and get all that stuff. All right, and then let me wipe down my station here. We are getting to the final parts of the recipe. We poured a delicious wine, and I'm gonna check the balls in a bit. I'm gonna actually rotate the balls, the meatballs, the turkey balls. Oh yeah. They are looking nice. Boom. We got a couple minutes on those guys, but they're really, really good. All right. So, who's cooking what at home? What's for dinner today? Anybody from out of the country watching us today? Say hello. We've been getting a lot of people from Dubai, from Canada, Mexico. I think we had some people from Africa. Was it Togo? I think so. From Peru, from Brazil, Venezuela, Nicaragua. So in Rojo Kitchen, we love international cuisine. That's why our favorite color is red, the color of blood. We all bleed red. And food is one of the most beautiful bridges you can cross to someone's culture and to knowing somebody.
Sandy's enjoying the tacos from our family meal today.
Nice. Thank you, Sandy Steele. Today, if you didn't have our Taco Tuesday, you missed out. It was a knockout. All right, so look at the garlic. Now it's turned nice and brown. I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna drop it nice and brown. So at this point, I'm gonna turn off the heat and add the broccoli. With that little excess water is good. And we're gonna crack a little pepper on there, a little salt, and this is very Italian. You can put some little chili flakes on there. You can put a little lemon juice in there too. I'm gonna finish it with a little extra virgin olive oil. So I'm gonna keep it pretty uh, straight up because our main star is our turkey meatball. So I'm gonna get ready to plate up, and I'm gonna have this nice plate ready to go right here. Boom.
Linda said she's making bujadara Lebanese tonight.
Ooh, Lebanese. Lebanese will put you on your knees. I love Lebanese. Maybe I'll tell Howard to bring me some tomorrow. All right. So we're about to plate up. Those balls have 1 minute left. And I'm going to get my fancy pliers. Get to use them for a change. So the garlic is already cooked. Remember, the broccoli is already cooked. This is finishing it up. So now I'm going to plate these up. I'm going to plate it up nice. Little kind of landscape style. Kind of popular in the fine dining world. We do a lot of landscape looking plate up, which is pretty funky and cool. And since I love nature, let's go with that. So a couple pieces of the broccoli in a little crisscross pattern, and you'll see why. I'm going to put the balls in all these little gaps. And let me put some extra these little garlic chips. If you did this right, your garlic should be nice and crispy, not burnt. You get this nice little slivers like so. So let's put some of those guys. That's going to give you this nice little crunchy little bitterness that's delicious. It goes really nice with the broccoli.
Chef, is there a name for those tongs?
These are little tweezers, long tweezers. Go to one of his fancy chef tool things. They'll have them. I don't even know Bed Bath and Beyond will have them, but they're practical for plating. It's used a lot in plating. If you don't want to use your hands, you can use the tongs, but the pliers have a little bit more finesse, and especially if you're grabbing small things like a little piece of garlic and hot garlic at that. All right, so let's go with the balls. Oh yeah. So how do you know they're ready? You stick a thermometer in them, and you want them at 160 degrees internally. So put the thermometer in the middle, and put it in there. And why are you asking yourself, well, how come you didn't do that? Well, I've been cooking for this long that if you touch them and they're nice and firm, these guys are ready. So, but that again goes to practice. If you're not cooking twice a week, don't start touching things and serve it to people if you don't know what the temperatures are, because then you're gonna get someone sick. All
A
right.
couple comments here, Chef. Renee Green made Asian chicken with cauliflower fried rice tonight.
Nice.
And Vicky Hamilton made the steak au poivre recipe from a few weeks ago.
Oh, so we have a steak au poivre today. What was the other dish that we had?
Asian chicken with cauliflower fried rice.
Asian chicken with cauliflower fried rice. Oh, I like it. I like it. And it's one of the greatest joy for any teacher is to see the students learn and practice what I preach. So it's thank you guys. It's always an honor to see that. If you have any pictures, we are doing some contests throughout the week. So if you want to take a picture of what you made, the recipe of today or even last week, like the steak of pop, take a picture, tag 2 to 3 friends on Instagram and on Facebook, and we'll be giving away something by the end of the week. Maybe some free dessert, maybe a family meal. Uh, Post it, show us what you got. Little Rojo challenges, little Rojo quick fire. All right, so I'm putting my balls in the gaps that I showed you. That didn't sound right. Hitting a little between the broccoli, my little turkey balls. Put those in there. Do one more. And this is a nice, delicious platter right there. Now, if you had a little bit of that glaze, and if you like that glaze, sometimes I make a little extra. I have a little bit extra right here. So I'm going to drizzle some of that around the plate. All right, and you can put some on the balls too. You can cook them up as well. You can warm up the sauce, especially if you touch them with your brush. I was kind of gentle to the side over here. All right, so drizzle your sauce. Remember the scallions that we cut. Let's get some of these guys in the mix. I have my little bouquet right there. And let's put some scallions right there. You want to go fancy, let's go with the tweezers, Just give you the fancy chef touch here. But see how practical they come because you can grab small items like this. And if you're trying to impress somebody here, you can tell, hey, look, I'm a chef now. I got tweezers. So, all right, so let's sprinkle some of these guys. Beautiful. And let's give you a little final sesame seed touch around the sides here. And bada bing, bada boom. There we go, guys. This is our Asian style meatballs, turkey meatballs with sauteed broccoli. Look at that. Beautifulness. Nice sauce right there. Look at that. And with our delicious German wine. So we have a German wine with an Asian dish. Thank you guys for watching. Last call on our wine tasting Friday. We have a wine tasting, 3 wines, 3 courses. We still have 5 seats available. So if you want to have a nice hot date or you're at home and you have nothing else to do and you just want to play it safe and have something adulting at home, please sign up. That's this Friday. And we also have a bourbon tasting next week. So sign up. Have a great, awesome night. If you want to give us a donation, Joe's putting the Cash App and the Venmo and the links in the comments below. If not, just spread the gospel. Much love. See you later.